What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we're going to talk about the list. We're going to go through every player and have a look and see whether or not they are worth using as trade bait, who's going to be delisted, and must-keeps on the list for 2019. And also we're going to look at some trade targets that maybe we are linked to, or maybe someone we should go after to fill our weaknesses in. So let's get straight into it and have a look at our 2018 list and how we can improve in 2019. So a lot of rumours are going around at the moment for our list. Big name players have been linked to clubs. The obvious links with Jared Polec and Chad Wingard's been linked a fair bit as well. The list about who's going to be delisted as well. We already know that Lindsay Thomas, Jimmy Toumpas and Emmanuel Ira have already been delisted, or Lindsay Thomas retired, so we say farewell to him. It's a big off-season to come for Port Adelaide and Kenny Hinkley and the whole list management crew to decide whether or not is this our best crop of players to go forward to push for that premiership that we so badly desire. So let's have a look and see the must-keep players I feel we must have in our team for 2019. These are the players that we must keep on our side. These are key players that we shouldn't even touch or shouldn't even be considered trade bait or even getting rid of. So let's go straight through it. I'll just list them all. So Travis Boak, Robbie Gray, Paddy Ryder, Stephen Motlop, Brad Ebert, Hamish Hartlett, Tom Rockcliffe, Todd Marshall, Billy Frampton, Ollie Wines, Tom Cleary, Jack Trengove should stay as well. Charlie Dixon, Jack Watts. I know a lot of people, are a bit hesitant on him at the moment, and completely understood. So am I, but the bloke deserves to go. First year, new team. Give him another chance at least. And then we've got Kane Farrell, Sam Hayes, Riley Bonner, Dougal Howard, DBJ, Justin Westhoff, who is a unrestricted free agent and not signed at the moment, but no doubt will he get another contract for a year. He had his best season and no doubt will be our best and fairest. Tom Jonas, who's been linked to Sydney. So whether or not that has any truth to it, he's still contracted for next year. And I'm hearing that Port Adelaide should have a deal on the table fairly soon for him, so I think he'll sign for Port. Dan Houston, Sam Gray, Jared Leonard, Chad Wingard, Dom Barry, Jake Patmore, Willem Drew, Joel Garner, Matthew Broadbent. I'm a little bit hesitant on Broady, but give him another chance. 2 years of injury-riddled, of being injury-riddled, and I feel that if he can have one more chance, get his body right, he can still be a massive help going into our side in 2019. We're looking for some pace around the ball, and his footy smarts as well may give us an edge, especially with Hamish Hartlett coming back as well. And Joe Atley and Will Snelling, give him another contract. I think Will is on the verge of getting another one, and Joe Atley as well. He's been linked to North Melbourne, so he could be possible trade bait. But at the moment, I think they've still got a bright future with the club. It's just whether or not what the people at Port Adelaide want to do. And look, for me, I'm keeping them. They're good backup, and they still have a good chance of even making adding more games to their list tally for 2019. Joe Atley's a good, fast-paced midfielder. Will Snelling can play forward and go in the middle as well. So there's some good options there for them, and a good opportunity next year to build on. Will Snelling should have had a game or two this year anyway with his SANFL form. Now, you're probably thinking, right, what players have I missed? What players have I not put on that list? Maybe there's some of your favourite players at the moment. And look, this is just my opinion. So if you have an opinion on players that we should trade, delist, go after, put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think Port should do with the list. So let's have a look at the delistings, who I think should be delisted at the end of this year, who hasn't performed well enough to keep a spot and get another contract deal for next year. We already know about Jimmy Toumpas, Emmanuel Ira and Lindsay Thomas has retired, as I mentioned before. Peter Adams hasn't made a influence on the club at all this year. He's struggled in the SANFL, especially since we've had so many players coming in and out of that side in the SANFL. He hasn't really been in any kind of form. He's kicked a few goals here or there, but unfortunately hasn't done enough to get another contract for mine. Cam Hewitt, this will be his 4th year on the list now, I'm pretty sure. He's 22 years of age, hasn't even broken into the AFL side yet, so unfortunately Cam I'm delisting you, buddy. I'm sorry. And lastly, look, this is going to be a bit controversial because we only picked him up last year, but for mine, I don't even feel like he was a necessity to pick up anyway. Trent McKenzie, he didn't make much of an impact. He was well below par in the SNFL, injury riddled, played one game for the Power. Look, I'm on the fence with him. I think he could be used as a trade bait as well, but definitely delisted, I feel. He didn't make any impact out of the recruits. They all had some sort of influence in the AFL, and he was just poor for me, even in the SNFL. So he could be kept for another year, give him another shot, but we have to be very much ruthless with this list, and I feel he's got to go. He's got to be the one cut. So, yeah, they're the 6 delistings at this stage that I feel. No more delistings will be announced until after the trade period. So just be aware of that. So that's just my thoughts again. But they're the obvious ones. There might be a couple of extra ones as well that I even feel could be on the list that I think should be kept. So I'll have to wait and see. And as Koshi said, no one is off the trade table as we go into the next category, which is trade bait. Now, a couple of these players could be even used, could be even delisted. Who knows? I feel a couple of these can be very much delistings and not even given another shot at AFL, but they very much got enough experience and game time under the belt to be trade bait. So we'll start off with a couple of obvious ones. Jake Need, he hasn't made an impact for a few years now. Every time he does come in, he seems to not struggle to kick goals, and his pressure is good enough for maybe even someone like a North Melbourne, a Carlton, a Gold Coast, you know, go up there with Aaron Young. He's got great pace, and he's just too small for the AFL, I feel. And I just think, you know, he's been given enough opportunity. He's been on the list since 2013. Made an impact early. Hasn't really done much since. And yeah, if you can't keep your spot in the side now when you're in your prime, you've very much got to look somewhere else for a new home. And I'm sorry, Needy, but an offer for him we could get, maybe a late 3rd or 4th round draft pick. I'd take it, because at the moment some of these players are list cloggers, and that's harsh, but it's fair. Karl Amon has been... he's got so much potential, but every time he seems to be on the rise, he gets a knee injury or a hamstring, or something goes wrong with his body. And I feel at the moment he's, you know, this year he broke into the side after, you know, not the best SNFL form. Didn't really keep the side in his spot, and then got injured. Last year was his best year, averaged 20-odd disposals, was really capable of carrying the ball, had pace as well, was really breaking into the side. Then he got injured. And that just hurt his chances even more. And he needs to hit the scoreboard a bit more. And look, we could get a 3rd round pick for him. He's got the talent, but you know, at this stage, if he can't break into the side, just got to use him as trade bait. Maybe a little bit of a sweetener on a deal that we could get a higher pick or something like that. Just yeah, at the moment, Karl Amon just needs to improve. He will improve, but I don't think his spot is here at Port Adelaide. Jack Hompsch and Jasper Pittard, I've linked these two together because apparently I've been hearing things that maybe they have been told that they're on the trade table. They'll definitely be looked at, and if they can't find a home, they've got one more chance next year. I think Pittard is on contract, and I'm pretty sure Jack Hompsch is as well. But these two did not improve at all in 2018. In fact, I reckon they went backwards. Jasper Pittard in and out of the side. Jack Hompsch was basically the wingman for Port Adelaide. Every time someone in our defence got injured, he'd come in. He didn't perform good enough, and that was shown in the showdown and against West Coast as well. He just didn't, and his body doesn't hold up either, poor Hompshy. So if you can get his body right, a new home could definitely be a nice refresher for him. But at the moment, those two are definitely need to be looked at to be traded next year. Now we'll get to the big ones. Jared Polec is the first one that I wanted to talk about. He's certainly gone. That Godfather deal of $750K, 5 years at North Melbourne, is... Look, if I'm as loyal as I would be, that's too good to refuse, especially if my club that I'm playing for is offering me, I think, like 3 years, $500K, $600K or something like that. You know, set up your future. You know, it's just something you can't refuse, and I don't blame him for going. I feel like that he could be... I'd definitely love to keep him because he's running ability, his pace around the ball, and his skill set when he's on is fantastic. Had one of his best years, but at this stage I feel he must go. Just for his own benefit. He's not going to stick around, and as much as disappointment as it would be for us as fans and probably his teammates, it's too good to refuse. The other one was a little bit of an interesting one that I feel just keeps popping up. Chad Wingard. Now, came out after the first rumour said that he was linked to Hawthorn, said don't believe anything you say here in the media. We all laughed at the media and we all posted up saying he's not going anywhere. Then it resurfaced again after his manager came out and said he's putting a price on it of $1 million per year. I don't know if that's whether or not to scare the opposition, to say, look, he's not going anywhere, but if he is, this is the price tag that he has on his head. You know, we've heard David King come out and say, look, if one star's got to give up their spot, Port Adelaide's got to give up Chad Wingard. I don't believe none of that nonsense. The bloke's going to stay at Port Adelaide. You know, look, I'd entertain the idea, depending on what they're offering another club, but I still feel he's best 22 material, and his best is still ahead of him. He's only 25. So, entertain it if you like, but I'm on the side of let's just keep him. He's too much of an asset. We know his ceiling levels are through the roof when he's on. Two-time Australian. Come on, it's Chad Wingard. Alright, finally, before we finish up, the trade targets for 2018 draft, the trade period. Obviously, we've been linked with Scott Lycett. That's almost a done deal. He's going to come to the club. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent too, so I don't think we're going to give up anything for him. And obviously, we were lacking that pace, and if Polak goes, we're going to look at some options to bring to the club. I've listed a few to replace that pace that we need around the ball and some skills, so bear with me. There's a couple of options that are out of contract this year and we could definitely trade for. Jordan Murdoch from Geelong, in and out of the side again, but he's a very good player. And that left foot, I reckon definitely he could be an option. Jack Loney for St Kilda, very, very skillful around the ball. Can play forward as well, and he's another left footer that we maybe go after. Jack Billings as well. A little bit of rumours going around that he's definitely looking at other clubs and other options, and you know, maybe Port have a bit of interest in him. Who knows? But I reckon we should definitely throw a hat in the ring. He's a good enough player. He just needs to, you know, improve his skill set a bit more. But you know, he's a smart player and a good future star that we could definitely target. And the last one I thought would be a very interesting one. Aaron Hall gets a lot of the footy, and you know, he's definitely an option we could go for. He's got a bit of pace. He's good with his ball use. It's an option I'd entertain. Second round pick, throw it in there. You know, I know depends on what we trade around. It might be a little late bloomer for Port Adelaide. So definitely some options there to entertain. But I feel at this stage, Scott Lycett is a definite, and anyone after that, I think we should mainly focus on the draft. You know, going into that big draft, which is probably one of the best in years. Make sure we set ourselves up in the trade period. More draft picks, higher up on the scale. You know, if Pollock goes, you get that pick 10, you'll have pick 9, pick 10, and then like 4 or 5 picks inside the top 30. That's a big advantage to have, especially with this deep draft that we've got with so much talent. So it's an interesting one, but it's going to be a very entertaining trade period. That's for sure for Port Adelaide. And a very entertaining and interesting off-season that we're going to have for sure. So let me know in the comments below, as I said before, what you think Port Adelaide should do with the list in 2018, going into 2019, and maybe some trade targets that you'd like to see come to the club. It's going to be very interesting, but thank you very much for tuning in, Port fans. I really appreciate all the support. Let's subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide content as well. Keep the channel growing and bring the Port Adelaide community together as we go through this off-season while finals are on. Thanks for watching, Port fans. My name's Anthony, and as always, ThePear.